Voters now bracing for a rematch between former President Trump and President Biden in November. And this comes after Trump won 14 out of 15 states on Super Tuesday, prompting Nikki Haley to end her presidential campaign. Joining us live in studio once again, UW political science professor James Long is here. Great to have you.
Thanks.
All right. So in Haley's speech yesterday, she did not endorse Trump, but she said that he would have to earn the support of moderate Republicans. And considering the appeal that she has among moderates, is she the front runner to be Trump's running mate?
Well, I think Haley is probably a good choice for Trump in a lot of ways because she would bring in moderate and independent voters, and that's the group that he would need to appeal to win in November. I look at yesterday as sort of a soft endorsement. She did say that he would have to win over her voters, but she said that ultimately she hoped that they would find a way to support Trump. I think if Haley wants a future in Republican Party politics, she can either sort of lay low or come out and have a more full-throated endorsement of him like we've seen with previous candidates. From his perspective, I'm not sure that he would want to pick her, but, you know, we'll see.
So who would he want to pick, if not Haley?
Again, I think if he picks a moderate, that makes the most sense. But, you know, Donald Trump makes decisions in ways that sort of confound the rest of us. So it's not exactly clear to me. I think picking a female would be good given the Republican Party's position on abortion rights and seeing that as a liability. But I think he's also going to want to pick somebody who he thinks he can work with.
All right. So so recent polls showing that a majority of voters think Biden's age is an issue at 82, much more than Donald Trump's at 77. So how much of a factor will age and fitness for office be in this upcoming election?
I think with Biden, it's not so much the age itself, it's more that he seems old, and, you know, whether or not he has the mental capacity and competency to continue in office. I think tonight with the State of the Union is going to be a chance for him to come out and appear vigorous and healthy and you know, sort of try to dispel that belief. But I think it's going to be an issue for him moving forward, and I think that's going to require the Democratic Party to have a lot of people that are around him supporting him and campaigning on his behalf.
You talk about tremendous pressure for a guy, right? I mean, 82 or not, he has been spending days trying to nail this thing, so we're going to see how it goes tonight. Biden calls Trump a threat to democracy, and you mentioned last hour that democracy, from Biden's perspective, is going to be on the ballot this time. So my question to you, is there an existential threat of to democracy in a second Trump term?
Yeah, I think that answer requires a lot more time than we have. I'll focus on one. I'll focus on one part of it, which is that, you know, Donald Trump's whole rationale for running this time is to essentially evade law enforcement and prosecution, and he believes that if he were president, that would help him get rid of the federal charges and also probably slow down the charges in New York and Georgia. And I think to a certain extent he's correct about that. We've already seen that when he lost an election before, he was unwilling to leave office peacefully, and, you know, sort of had to be tossed out more or less. So I think the fact that he's using the ability to run for president as a way to evade law enforcement and the charges that he faces is very disturbing, because I think it then suggests that why would he ever then leave office? And I think that's kind of one of the big threats. The other thing we know is from his 2 impeachments and the allegations in these 4 indictments is that he is likely to misbehave and do illegal and criminal things if he were to be president again. And so I think that's kind of the thing to think about looking forward.
UW political science professor James Long, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Oh, and by the way, I should probably mention that you can watch the State of the Union address tonight on Fox 13. Starts at 6 o'clock, and then right after the address, Fox 13 hosting special election coverage with our own Hannah Kim and our Fox 13 political analyst, talking about the upcoming Washington presidential primary, local election matters, and the end of the legislative session.